Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sitdown. Yes, I am back at my parents' house. It's another Tuesday night where volleyball night was in full effect. You know, we had a really good second set. I'll say that. We started out a little slow, but had an okay first set. Second set, we played pretty well. I think we put up at least 10, if not 11 points, which for us really good. Third set did not. It started out okay. Didn't go very well after that. We hit the bar, of course. Taco Tuesday at the local bar in Waldwick tonight. So we were drinking margaritas. So it was a good time. And now I am home. It is after midnight, and I've literally been contemplating whether or not I should go to sleep first or talk about this show and watch the latest episode first. And I've landed on watching the episode and trying to talk about last week and this week and everything all together. What am I talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat? We are getting ready to take a watch and dive in, spoiler-filled, into Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 6, Part 6, and of course, like every week, we'll find out the actual title of the episode as we watch. But I'm stoked, man. I tell you, I've had a week now to sit and think about the religious experience that Clone Wars and Rebels fans had last week. Maybe it was a religious experience for some of you, just strictly movie fans, because Anakin. But I'm telling you, man, if you watched Clone Wars, if that relationship and to see it portrayed the way it was last week, Dave Filoni just gifted us something that I don't think any of us are really ready for. And one of the things that I always kind of enjoy is seeing how people try to figure things out or theorize where you're going. And even I was I thought we were going to get Thrawn last week. We're not. I would say I'm pretty sure we're gonna get him this week, considering one of our main cast members that is on the light side of things is in a different galaxy that Thrawn is supposedly also in. So you'd think you'd probably run into him this episode if it wasn't last episode. But what Filoni opted to do last week was just so cool, and once again has given us something that Star Wars fans will be debating until Filoni tells us something specific, or the story takes us to a place where you can really understand things. But it was one of these, you go in, you know that you're in the world between worlds, Anakin is there, and 2 weeks ago, the CG on Anakin's face looked okay, but the de-aging didn't look great. And the theories that started flying were that it wasn't actually Anakin. And I did say last week that it didn't necessarily have to be Anakin per se, right? The Force working through things inside of Ahsoka. I kind of felt like we were probably going down one of those routes. And I really hoped that it wasn't going to be some sort of Anakin mask for, the son of Mortis or some other thing where somebody was fooling Ahsoka. And what Filoni opted to do last week was really cool, and it's one of those things where I do believe, right, considering Ahsoka was in the water, some sort of meditative world between worlds type state, right? She's not quite dead but not alive, so she's kind of in this limbo, ends up falling into the world between worlds and is kind of processing, right? And working through not turning her back on the Jedi and leaving Anakin, not being there for his fall and being hung up on that. And that, of course, is something we talked about last week. Ahsoka was going to have no control over that. She could have been with Anakin all the way to the end, just like Obi-Wan was, right? If anyone would be as close to Anakin as Ahsoka, if not more, it's Obi, and Obi couldn't save Anakin. So there was nothing that Ahsoka could have possibly done, but it's something that she had never worked through. And through the Force, and Anakin being someone who has passed on, right? He's not Darth Vader anymore. He's moved on. And we've seen his Force ghost, and that wasn't a Force ghost. It definitely didn't have any of the properties of a Force ghost. So the question has just been, was it actually Anakin? And I kind of land in the middle, where I think it's a little bit of both, right? Like, I think you end up where you end up because Ahsoka needs to work through things. But I think through the Force, you did get Anakin in there, and it's because of things that he says during the episode, right? Like, I was very much on this is like going on inside of Ahsoka, something that she has to work through in order to kind of free herself, right, as a Jedi. I can't wait to see the first time we get action with her as Ahsoka the White. Another thing, I've mentioned that I'm a big fan of Eric Ross and New Rockstars, and I've obviously been watching his breakdowns after watching the episodes and talking to you guys on the first go. And it's one of those things where, like, he kind of landed in the initially, like, you could be going down the Mortis route, or you could be kind of working through things, and this is something that, like, Ahsoka is semi-creating, right? Something that Filoni has said about the world between worlds is that it is reflective of the individual that's there. And being that Ahsoka doesn't go through a portal, and is more in this, like, almost dead but not quite dead state, kind of ends up in this place. But because of things that Anakin says, however it all came together, Anakin is present in some way there. Whether it's just through the Force after passing, or if because it's the world between worlds, and you're in between time and space, maybe a Force ghost can take a physical form, right? Like, it's one of those where we've never seen a Force ghost interact with another person that's alive and be able to make physical contact. There's none of the Force ghosty things around Anakin. And in all honesty, I think the de-aging just wasn't great in episode 4. But when you get to episode 5, they definitely made sure that stuff was tight. And it was far better than it was the week before. But because of things Anakin says, right? Like, the big one, right, is like, when she says, "I'm not going to fight you," and he goes, "Oh, I've heard that one before." That's what Luke says to Darth Vader. That's not something that Ahsoka could know. Being on Mandalore for the Siege of Mandalore, something that Anakin wouldn't be familiar with. I've seen people throw that one out there, and I would say that, like, Ahsoka knows that Anakin wasn't there, so, like, her subconscious could be bestowing that on Anakin, but the one where he responds to her saying, "I'm not gonna fight," and says, "I've heard that," it's not the first time I've heard that. The only other time he would have heard that is Luke, and that's not something that Ahsoka would have any idea of. So, is it physically Anakin? No, I don't think it's physically Anakin per se, but I think something about the world between worlds and just the way that the Force works in this circumstance, there is Anakin's essence is in there if it's not physically him. And just the way that he ends up, like, teaching Ahsoka. Like, it is a really beautiful way to finish the teaching, and it's one of these things where rewatching the episode multiple times and editing and whatnot, and watching, some of these other people who break these things down, you see how Anakin's pushing Ahsoka, right, and trying to figure out what it is she's held up on. And when you get, to the Siege of Mandalore, where Anakin wasn't, and he starts to talk to her, he starts to understand, like, oh, you're still hung up on the Vader of it all. Okay, if that's what it is, then let's go there. And when he kicks her out of the Siege of Mandalore back into the world between worlds, and he comes at her, there's a lot of recreation of the Darth Vader and Ahsoka fight from Rebels. And it's literally like putting her back in that moment. Like, yeah, okay, you haven't been able to get past, one, me becoming Darth Vader, and two, the fact that, like, Vader was about to strike her down when Ezra pulls her out. So putting it back into that situation and giving her a moment to be able to get the upper hand, and the whole lesson, live or die. She chooses to live. not gonna strike Anakin down. It was just so poetic and so beautifully done. And then watching the breakdown that Voss did, the biggest one for me was the cul-de-sac versus the open world in the World Between Worlds. Like, behind Ahsoka, it goes for forever, but behind Anakin, cul-de-sac. And the initial moves in the first round of the fights, it's all about him getting her to go that way so he can push her into a corner where she has nowhere to go so he can break the bridge. Like, those are the types of things that Dave Filoni is doing, where it's like, yeah, this guy needs to be doing as much Star Wars stuff as he wants to be, and he has to be in control, because it's those little things, man, that just so get you when it comes to these episodes. And last week, I mean, just using one, hold on, I want to make sure I get this right, because I didn't realize who it was, and I was talking to my friend Britt, and she was like, I was so glad that the one thing in the episode that, like, I definitely pulled from that wasn't, like, things that you'd heard in other theories or podcasts or whatnot, was like, I knew who that little girl was. And that, of course, she played young Gamora, and then she was in Barbie, Ariana Greenblatt. Phenomenal job, man. She so captured young Ahsoka. But then to take us to those two specific moments, the first battle that her and Anakin are in, right? Like, and Anakin says, like, this is when I had to start teaching you to become a warrior, right? Not a soldier, not so much a Jedi. But then to go to the Siege of Mandalore, like, that was one of the things, like, I definitely did not talk about, because I was just so caught up in the moment, right? It's like looking at what was going on in the background. Like, you had clone troopers with the Ahsoka paint on. You had Mandalorians with the Darth Maul spikes. Like, oh man, dude, like, the imagery just through all of that as a Clone Wars fan, like, it was just and then the fact, again, I was all caught up, man. We got Captain Rex Classic and Commander Rex, where he's got the Ahsoka, like, markings on his helmet. Like, again, like, as long as we didn't get to see the helmet come off, but hearing him talk to her, seeing him in both versions of his armor, like, it was everything I think a general Star Wars fan would want, right? Like I said, the usage of Anakin. And one of the things that I've heard, this is a theory that I think is really interesting, is not so much that, you know, he was one of the Mortis gods or whatnot, but maybe we're at a place where Anakin's the chosen one, right? Maybe Anakin has now kind of assumed, and this isn't my theory, I can't remember which channel I was watching, but, like, he's kind of assumed this potential place of being in charge of the balance, right? Like, he chooses to go to Vader and use that imagery specifically to work through things for Ahsoka. So, like, if it is actually Anakin in the World Between Worlds, and it's not all of in Ahsoka's, I mean, I think it all took place subconsciously, but at the same time, Jason can hear it, right? So it's a physical plane. It's one of those, like, you're kind of in that in between world. And I just think, like, if that is something that Filoni's playing with, where it's like Anakin post life could now be the combo of the Mortis gods. You know, the one that is, I think, Celestial might have been a word that was said in that video. But, like, you know, the one that's responsible for being the balance and bringing the balance and looking over that. Like, that could be such a fascinating thing for Filoni to dive into, and a brilliant way to be able to bring Hayden back and do more things with him. My friend Britt was like, "You think Hayden's done?" I was like, "No, there's no way." One, I personally would just love to see them take a swing at doing a series shortly after Revenge, right? It's one of these, we're playing all over the timeline, we're bouncing around. I think people would pick up on it, and to see Hayden actually wrestle and grapple with the changing and becoming mostly mechanical and being on the dark side, like, that would be, I just hope that Hayden gets a chance to really sink his teeth into something that is Vader. And every time he has shown up, it's been brilliant, and I hope we get more of it. I mean, he did the Hayden twirl with the light, like, yo, you know what I mean? And again, huge props to Rosario Dawson. You know, I mean, she stuck in there. She was beat for beat with him. And same thing with Greenblatt. I mean, her little action sequence was freaking baller, man, when we got into the Siege of Mandalore stuff. So, like, Filoni just doing things, man, that, like, excitement in the moment, but there's excitement for the future. I can't wait to see how he plays with stuff, how he potentially uses Hayden going forward, and what this all means for Ahsoka as we move forward. Like I said, seeing Ahsoka the White, and this is, again, something I heard from Boss, the comparisons and the similarities to Gandalf the Grey becoming Gandalf the White, and a lot of the Lord of the Rings elements in there from an imagery standpoint really do sync up with Ahsoka. And seeing her at this place, the thing I said to my friend Britt was like, she's free. You know what I mean? The thing that's been holding her down, the thing that made her, or potentially made her, so stoic as a rebel, was the fact that she was hung up on this Anakin stuff. And finally working through that. You could even see it in Rosario's performance. You know, I've heard people be like, oh, she's too serious. One, that's how she is in Rebels. But two, if the Anakin stuff has really been the thing that's been weighing her down, now that she's been able to work through that, you see the lightness just in her attitude. I can't wait to see what that translates to in action, because I think it means massive things. Like, she is completely free. Maybe it'll take a little minute to learn, but I think you're going to see a level up for Ahsoka, and that's super exciting. Then, all the stuff with Jason, again, it's one of these where it's like, I don't think we're going to go down these crazy storyline rabbit holes with Jason and his connection to the Force and possibly becoming a Jedi one day at all going forward. We might not even see Jason that much more going forward. Outside, I mean, he's with Hera, and Hera is not obviously in this other galaxy, so, like, we will see him. But I don't necessarily think you have to dive more into it. The fact that he could sense it, the fact that he could hear the lightsabers in the world between worlds. Like I said last week, I hope that we get to a place where Ezra is training this kid. And you're just laying the seeds for that going forward. I really do hope that we get, like, some sort of live-action Rebels. Like, that's Rebels proper. You know, not Ahsoka becoming, like give me a Rebels TV show coming out of this. Because there are storylines and things I think that we're already starting to tee up, and things that I think we're going to get to that could do some really cool things. But all the stuff with Jason last week was awesome, and, like, when you, like, if you were gonna have him in the show, the things you did last week are the things I really look forward to with that character. But yeah, now we get to turn our attention and focus on where we were 2 weeks ago, which is Baylan and Shin and Morgan and Sabine hyper jumping out to wherever, you know, Thrawn is. And then, obviously, at the end of last week, Ahsoka and Huyang inside of a Purgle also jump into hyperspace. I'll be fascinated to see where we pick up, you know, how close, or, you know, the things and calculations that Morgan figures out, plus using, you know, Night Sister magic in there. It'll be interesting to see how close they are to Thrawn when they show up there. And, like I've said from jump, Thrawn and Ezra have been in this other galaxy for a long time. There's no reason that the two of them would be in the same place at the same time. It'd be kind of cool if the Purgle end up somewhere else in this galaxy that's not where Baylan and Co. are, but brings Ahsoka and Huyang closer to Ezra. I think we get Thrawn this week. I guess you could stretch it one more, right? And, like, you could have Baylan and Shin kind of look in, and maybe they run into Ahsoka. You could do some things before you get there, but I think this is finally going to be our Admiral Thrawn reveal. I'm fascinated to see who gets this episode. I could very much see it being Ramsay, which, ironically enough, not always paying attention when I'm watching, especially when I was binge watching, but he's done a few of the Mandalorian episodes, and real good stuff. Everything that he's done. And one of the directors of Across the Spider-Verse. No big deal. But he was fantastic, so I would love to see him behind the camera here for Thrawn's reveal. But, you know, Steph Green? Was it Steph Green? It's Steph something. But the woman who did the first two episodes, after the second and third episode, after Filoni did the first one, I think she could also really knock it out of the park. So I'll be interested to see if it's one of the two of them, or if Filoni goes somewhere else and brings in, I mean, they've got a deep bench of directors, right? But you get to part 6 here, and it says the search for Grand Admiral Thrawn reaches beyond the limits of the galaxy. And I'm fascinated to see what this other galaxy is like, what it means to be in a different galaxy. We've never really kind of explored that in at least the physical media that I can think of off the top of my head. But we also know the top of my head don't work too well, and it's late. I'm tired. I've played volleyball. We've been talking for 20 minutes. I should shut the hell up, man, and we should just get into some Thrawn and Ezra. I was like this close to just like being like, I'm gonna watch the episode, record my reactions, and then I'll figure out the top of the record when I get there. And then we just went in. There's a switch, man. Even when I'm tired, I just flip that switch sometimes, and I can go in. Boom, 20 minutes is bad. I was talking about last week, but I always love that you guys appreciate and take the time, check out the stuff, because it's one of those where a lot of spoiler reviews will be mapped out. My spoiler review is just right off the top of my head as we're watching. So there are a lot of things I pick up on in the edits and then just in other coverage and just consuming this is one of them shows where it's like I just want to consume everything I can, man. People talking about the show is just exciting. And like I said, I think we're getting Admiral Thrawn. And I'm like 9 chapters through the first Thrawn trilogy book. And it just makes me more excited for him. Even if I don't know if that's Legends or I've got to figure all those things out. But even if none of that stuff is canon per se, just the way his brain works and how he does things from a military standpoint to get him in live action is so exciting. And I'm pumped for Lars Mikkelsen. But I also hope that we get a little bit more for Baylan with Ray Stevenson, because obviously it's one of the last performances he's given, and every time he is on screen, he's been phenomenal, and I missed having him on screen last week. The one other thing before we dive in, though, because I still got to set up my phone, I apologize for any video quality issues as well as audio quality issues. I thought I was going right back to Connecticut today. I had to come down to Jersey for a doctor's appointment, and I was planning on going back up because I thought I had to go to a Mets game. The Mets game is next week, so there's that. And then I have to do volleyball. So I left, I purposely left my camera in Connecticut because I was like, nah, I'm going to be home. So we're working off of the laptop. It's been a long time since I've just done video and audio off the laptop. And I feel like the audio is not going to be great. So I apologize for that. But now we can turn our attention to Ahsoka Season 1. Episode 6, Part 6. I'm very excited to find out what the title actually is here. But yeah, you guys can see the puppies right over there. He came to sleep in frame. I just realized that for the first time. He's just sitting over there. He's such a good boy, except for when he's barking and not being a good boy. That was before volleyball. He does not like any of our neighbors. Not sure why. But absolutely just loses his mind for no reason. And of course, for those that have been following along, I got to do the old combo because the Bluetooth doesn't work here. So I've got it ready here and there. Let's jump in. Ahsoka, Season 1, Episode 6, Part 6. Let's go. So close. No lips. I got no lips.
Sabine.
Oh. And the other big thing, Sabine, right? The Sabine of it all. And Ezra, right? If Ezra's out there, I'm fascinated to see what we get with those Sabine and the Force. And
You're certain they know where Sabine was taken?
I have no idea.
Purgle!
I'll find them. I promise. May the Force be with you.
Oh man, I'm so close. I think. If I'm off at all, it's by frames. Look at them. Purgle traveling in hyperspace. Oh, it's so pretty. Dude, like, just the colors around them is so gorgeous. Also, this Ahsoka shirt.
Galactic travel within a star whale. I really have done it all.
I remember them from the stories you would tell us. When we were younglings, back at the temple.
Oh, I love that.
History of the Galaxy Parts 1, 2, and 3.
Love that.
I still have those stories in my archive memory. Would you like to hear one?
Aww. The upsides to androids.
Not right now.
Perhaps you have
but
a story for me.
not being prepared to be down in Jersey for this, I went to Hot Topic today and bought a new Ahsoka shirt. So I have like 4 Ahsoka shirts, 2 Rebel shirts now. It's out of control. You'll see the good stuff next week, though.
I saw it through the Force when I held the map.
That is troubling.
Troubling. She could have ended this.
She could have. But
No
Ezra.
Thrawn. No war.
And no Ezra.
Bing, bing, ding, ding, ding. There it is.
She was fated to make that choice. There wasn't enough time to prepare her to make the right one.
The Force provides you with insight, but it does not give one all the answers.
Hu Yang.
Perhaps for Sabine, it was the only choice.
It's true, man.
A choice she made for herself.
That is your fear.
Choice she made for everybody.
Tell me one of those stories. Your choice.
Very well.
I love
A long time
the
ago,
usage, though, of Hu Yang.
in a galaxy
See,
far,
far away. That's freaking dope. Let's go. Oh, that's... Oh, God. This is why Dave Filoni's the man. Fan service moment. Far, far away. Right? Fan service with purpose. Tease up the title of the episode. And there's our Sabine. I can't, like, there's so much to dive into with only a few episodes left. This is why I want a season 2 or a Rebel show, because I think Dave Filoni has opened the door now for some of the best characters in the Star Wars universe. It's exciting to see other people getting to meet and spend time with these
with a view.
characters.
Do you find your situation confining?
A bit.
I would think this would be an opportunity for reflection.
I try to avoid that.
I can understand why.
We had a deal. You promised me I would see Ezra again.
He's so good.
We had a deal!
You still mean to follow through on your promise to her?
The focus to find Ezra at Bridge are blind, sir. I believe she can still be of some use to us.
What are you up to, Baylan? Dude, I'm telling you, these hyperspace visuals, though, like, I like how it changes up, going to a different galaxy. The trail on that thing is fantastic. It's just, something about watching TV that feels like Star Wars makes me so happy, because it is Star Wars.
The ancient homeworld of my ancestors, the Dathomiri.
The Jedi Archive spoke of this place. The end of the migration route used by the Star Whales as they traversed the void from one galaxy to the other.
My
Fascinating.
people were among the first to harness and ride the creatures in the days before time was counted.
The whales came here to die. Peridea is a graveyard.
Fascinating. A Purgle graveyard. Look at the bones. Purgle bones are making up the frickin' ring? Is that what that is? Well, that's wild.
We are receiving a beacon signal from the planet's surface.
Let us not keep them waiting.
Oh, what? Beacon signal from the surface? Thrawn expecting them? What do we got? Oh, Shin. I don't like the way Shin looks at Sabine. I feel like she's gonna try to kill her. First shot she gets. That's a cool looking ship. Dude, are we gonna get Thrawn right away? Or do you think what they think is Thrawn is Ezra? I hope not, man. I want my Purgle theory to be right. That'd be cool if the Purgle brought Ahsoka right to Ezra. Also, another good runtime on this. I think it was 49 minutes with credits, so like this is the most consistently over 45 I've seen Disney Plus in a very long time. Look at these freaking statues. It's tied, I guess, to the Night Sisters. There's so many of them. What do they mean? I also want to know how Morgan knows all of this. It is very convenient. Magic and calculations, right? Whoops. He's still asleep. More Night Sisters! Oh, live action Night Sisters! And they got more of a classic look going on with their robes than Morgan. Oh god. What is going on here? Oh, effing yes. Oh, that's so awesome. Let's go. Night Sisters, pup.
Welcome, child of Dathomir. You do our ancestors credit.
Thank you, Great Mother.
You heard our call to you in the dream.
Your visions guided me across the stars.
We're witches.
Very good, Shin.
And you came as Thrawn promised.
Where is Thrawn?
You shall wait. He is coming.
He is coming. Why isn't he there? Look at these.
Reeks of Jedi.
Yeah, well, Sabine would.
It is dangerous.
This is so freaking dope. Like I said, I always love the Night Sisters stuff. And with Fallen Jedi, Jedi Survivor, you've got a Night Sister in the play there, and I'm a huge fan of her character in those games. Oh, snap, what is that? It's just like restraints.
Will wait in solitude.
It. I like how they keep referring to Sabine as it. Like a Jedi is not a person.
Where is Ezra? Where is he?
There's something about Baylan. Can't put my finger on it. Well, I guess if... Are those... What kind of wolves are those? Oh, Filoni loves him some wolves, man. I wonder if those are tied at all to the Loth wolves. Those are very large. Just his presence. Stoicness, the seriousness, the underlying terror.
What is it, Master?
This is a land of dreams and madness.
I know no such stories.
You weren't raised at the temple. Stories of this galaxy are considered folk tales.
I love this stuff.
Long forgotten.
What good reason? Sometimes stories are just stories.
I like that we're getting this time right now, though. I'm fascinated with Baylan.
When I was a bit older than you are now, I watched everything I knew burn.
Yes, go into this.
Couldn't make sense of it at the time. As you get older, look at history. And realize it's all inevitable.
Inevitable.
Fall of the Jedi, rise of the Empire. It repeats again and again.
I'm telling you, man, he's... There's something going on with
Isn't it
him.
our turn now? Won't our alliance with Thrawn finally bring us into power?
Sort of power is fleeting. What I seek is the beginning. When we finally bring this cycle to an end.
And that beginning is here.
If the old stories are true.
If they don't... I hope they don't kill Baylan off as a character, because I'm fascinated. But if they don't... Oh, man. Filoni's gonna have a time trying to find somebody to step into what Ray Stevenson's done. Yeah, what are you doing, Sabine? Could have prevented all of this from happening. She's gonna go through Jedi training stuff like that. Oh, come on, I need to see a flicker of the Force, man. Oh. Sound design is telling me that maybe there's something. Come on, Sabine. Nah, that's more than... What's behind her? That was a good fake out. Please tell me that we're finally getting Thrawn. Oh, is that the Chimera? Oh, hell yes! Let's go! Oh, man. I'm like, a lot of this. Like, I feel like a kid right now, man. No! Dude, also, just the tonal shift in the sound design and the score, which, if I have not said it once, I'm going to say it a million times. Kevin Kiner, through the roof, man. What he's doing score-wise is, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yo, look at all of them. Oh, baby. What is that? Let's go. Let's go. I got these red bands. Oh, dude. Lars, let's go. I want to know what's going on with that dude in the face, though. Dude, oh god, the white uni. Oh, yes! Oh, the voice. Oh, the eyes. Oh, dude, I'm like...
We shall all escape this exile thanks to the efforts of Morgan and Elspeth.
I am ever your servant, Grand Admiral.
This is Enoch, captain of my guard. We shall begin the cargo transfer as per my agreement with the Great Mothers.
I have seen the catacombs. It will take some time. At least 3 rotations.
An acceptable time frame.
They have brought a prisoner.
Do you know the multiple voices?
You never spoke of this.
I did not see it. It is a loose thread.
What? Speak to me of this loose thread.
I wonder if that's Sam Witwer. Hey, what's up, Sea Maniac Nation? I'm going to address this one right now. Last night, I hadn't looked at the IMDb cast list, and there had been a quote out from Sam Witwer in regards to being asked if he was working on anything, and he had said, honestly, I was just about to say that I didn't work on Ahsoka, but I did, so yeah, I don't think I can say anything, but that I'm proud of Dave Filoni. And that was a quote that I had come across like a week or two ago, and it kind of made me wonder if more than just the voice work that we've already seen Witwer do in Ahsoka, if he had maybe a physical character. And a masked stormtrooper with like a face would be a pretty cool spot to plug in Witwer, and his voice would definitely work in that role. And he has, you know, similar tones to the person who is actually playing Enoch, who is Wes Chatham. So yeah, you know, I ride the Sam Witwer train hard in my reactions, because I really want to see him come to live action. But if it's not here, obviously, or in a different role in the last 2 episodes, you know Dave Filoni will find a spot eventually for Witwer in live action that'll be super meaningful, and I look forward to that. But this is just me going, ooh, maybe this could be Witwer, but indeed, it is Sam Chatham. So let's go back to the past, Seaman.
I felt she could be of some use to us. And you are?
Miss
Baylan's school.
Baylan's school. And his apprentice, Shin Hati.
Hati, that's how you say it, not Haiti.
Of the Jedi Order.
Yo, dude, I love how he knows everything.
I parted ways with the Jedi long ago. You would not be the first.
The prisoner is Sabine Wren.
Now there's a familiar name.
Yes, it is.
You're quite right. She'll be of great use to us.
Yeah, dude, 'cause Ezra's out there. I'm telling you. I mean, unless that's Ezra. So, I heard a rumor that Sam Witwer had maybe alluded to having a role in this. Now, we've heard his voice in a lot of different places. But if he has a role, it could be the dude, the gold mask, or that could be Ezra. I don't think that's Ezra, but I think that could be Sam Witwer, maybe.
I understand it is you I have to thank for my escape from exile.
Dude, the eyes are so good.
The desire to be reunited with your long-lost friend. How that singular focus will reshape our galaxy.
Just answer the question.
No need for hostility. I'm aware of your agreement with Baylan's skull, and I intend to honor it.
Interesting. Where's Ezra?
You shall have provisions, amounts, and our latest intel on Bridges' whereabouts.
See, so Ezra is out there doing things.
Just gonna let me walk out of here?
You helped my cause. Now I shall help yours.
Fascinating.
You'll be stranded here forever.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why he's letting her go.
It's also quite possible that your friend is dead.
Oh, that's just cruel. But he's not.
If you survived, I'm sure he's doing just fine.
You've gambled the fate of your galaxy on that belief.
You wouldn't understand.
Perhaps not.
I'd rather not waste any more time. What kind of ride you got around here?
What is that? I know there's some people who were intrigued or concerned about, Lars not looking necessarily exactly like Thrawn. Those are not Lothwolves. Or tied to Lothwolves. I don't know what kind of creatures those are. But like I said, Mr. Filoni loves him some wolves. Anyway, the voice, the stature, the presence, that's why you cast Lars Mikkelsen. That continuity, I think, is more important than casting somebody that could really...
Here are your weapons.
Gave her lights.
Die well.
So you gotta dive more into that character. You can't be having stormtroopers with faces and not tell me more. But fascinating play to just throw Sabine out there. And it'll all play out fine because Ahsoka's on her way. So even if they leave, Ahsoka will get her and go on back. Oh, but what this is just... I can't wait to see what we are building to.
You may follow her at your own pace. Yes, Commander.
I thought you were to honor your agreement.
But he shall. Sabine Wren will have the opportunity of finding Ezra Bridger, just as promised. And if she does, you and your master will destroy them both.
As the play. Oh, man. If we get a Sabine, Baylan, Shin, Ezra showdown, I'm a freak out. I'm about to freak out, I hope, soon. We better get Ezra as quick as we got Thrawn when we was looking for him.
Steady.
What does it smell? Oh, yeah. It's, watching New Rockstars. I think that was what Luke or Han used on Hoth. Whoa! What was... Who? What? Oh, jeez. Is that Ezra? No, that's multiple people. Who are these people? God, thank God for Beskar Steel, right? Oh, come on, Sabine. I like getting to see her just frickin' use general skill sets in combat right now. And Mandalorian training. She is... Good God, man. Oh, no. God, Sabine. Where is Ezra? Yes, let's go. Yes! lightsaber. They just hit 2 of them in the eye. Who were those characters? And well, that's not good. Sabine did work there. Little combo Mando and Jedi stuff. Well, I still think most of what she was doing is Mando with a lightsaber, but that's a great shot. I can't wait to see who's directing this episode. Dude, look at all these stormtroopers! The freaking red. It's a cool look.
The mercenaries have departed.
Good. Prepare to attack squads. Wait for Lord Baylan's signal.
Should we not send more troops to support them?
During this exile, our numbers have dwindled. So, no, the squads will suffice. It matters not whether Ren and Bridge are killed or stranded here. Same can be said for your 2 mercenaries.
Oh, Thrawn! Just doing what you gotta do. It'd be fascinating if he left Baylan and Shin. How Baylan plays.
You abandoned me!
Aww!
Should have known you were a coward.
Sad. Like they came back for her. There he is. I mean, why would you do that? He's got your provisions. Easier ride. Here he comes. There he reminds me of you, knucklehead.
Okay.
Interesting loyalty for something that just met her, you know?
Better not bail on me this time. Got it?
Such a dog owner thing, too. Like, to talk to the animal that way. Yeah, I know you know what I'm saying, even though I can't directly communicate or understand you, right?
You got something?
Like bloodhounds? That's freaking cool, though. I also am happy with my decision to have powered through. This is a solid episode so far. It's taking a little long to get to Ezra. Like, I need it. I need it so bad. And I'm like, I want to see more for Amon Isvandi. Because that little hologram message, he feel like he's locked in the right spot. Underneath? Is there a way underground? Just looking for water?
You were thirsty. Is that it?
Yep. Oh.
Now what?
What do you smell?
It's a rock. You're embarrassing yourself.
Freaking love Sabine. Oh, that is not a rock! What is that? Have we been introduced to a new little creature that I'm gonna love?
Get up, come on, I can see.
Does he know Ezra? Or she? I don't know.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Look at him, he's so cute with his little outfit. He might hurt you.
Okay, it's okay. I got this.
Look at the way he's shaking.
Tota. Tota!
Oh.
No, it won't hurt you.
Love it. Touch my hand. Would you chill? Knows the rebel symbol.
You like this?
Yeah. I know what that is. Yo, tell me he's got it on! Yo, let's go!
How's that possible?
Hell yeah!
Ezra, do you know Ezra?
Ezra's got a little band of rebels. Oh shoot. They're all... There's a whole bunch of... That's where you go. Like, there's so many that you can't stop me on all of them. She can.
Hey, I don't believe it. You must know Ezra Bridger. Please.
Oh, he said Bridger.
Do you know Ezra Bridger? He's my friend. You know him. You've seen him.
Yes, let's go. Get us to... Has Ezra created a little rebel community on here? Have there been years of rebels versus Imperials happening on this planet? I would love that. Conceptually, that'd be so friggin' awesome. Like, if Ezra was responsible for, like, a bunch of frickin' rebels. Oh, Baylan's on the hunt.
Looks like she survived.
You know the one she seeks so desperately.
Bridger? No, he's too young. Comes from a breed of Boken Jedi trained in the wild after the temple fell.
Mm-hmm.
He was trained as a Jedi. You, I trained to be something more.
Something more. I just want to see Shin and Sabine go, like,
Do you miss
all the way off.
The order.
I miss the idea of it, but not the truth, the weakness. There was no future there.
You clearly see one here,
There's conflict in this Baylan.
in this wasteland.
I see what once was the great witch kingdom of the Dathmiri. The existence of the Great Mothers confirms this.
They seem eager to leave this place.
Perhaps they flee a power greater than their own. Something calls to me. Can't you hear it? Something stirs here. Can't you see it?
I see bandits.
Bandits.
The enemy of our enemy.
Is our friend?
For now.
But, like, I would take bloodshed because you and Shin are freaking badass. Look at these guys, man. Like samurai. What is Sabine looking at? Oh, it's a little village. Is that Ezra? Or is that... No, it's Sabine. Where is Ezra? I just want him so bad. There's so many of these little guys. It's like, I could eat all of these. Oh! The babies may be cuter than the people in this little community.
No.
What is that? Not trying to eat Sabine? Where is Ezra? I'm very impatient tonight.
I knew I could count on you.
He's got a beard! Ah! Ezra! Yes! Oh, hell yes. Yes! And the hair is back! I've needed hair on Ezra's head.
Sure took you long enough.
Yes.
You didn't exactly tell any of us where you were going.
That's because I didn't know where I was going.
Typical. Always a plan.
Look at him.
Never a good one.
Hey, it worked, didn't it?
Oh,
It worked.
yes. Yes. Oh, man. Long time coming, man. He's back. Oh, my God. Now, I need the Purgle to show up and get to work next episode. Oh, Ez.
I see my friends found you.
Yeah. Your very own band of rebels.
So many questions. Riding a hound. How'd that happen? In fact, how did you find me?
Let's not talk about that. Not right now.
Sabine?
Hey, I just want to be happy that I found you. After all this time, can I have that?
Of course. What? Come on. I never stay in one place for very long.
Freaking Ezra, man. Oh, he's got a beard. It's all grown up.
Can't wait to go home.
Oh, man. And again, the casting is so good. Like, in just a small little moment, you can just feel Ezra coursing through Esvandi's performance.
Great mothers, you wish to speak.
The thread of fate has spoken to us. Another comes.
Mm-hmm.
They ride the travelers.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Get ready, Thrawn. Ahsoka's coming.
Simply deceased Ahsoka.
Impossible.
I thought it was beyond you to underestimate a Jedi. After all, death and resurrection are common deceptions played out by both Night Sister and Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Baylan assured me of her death.
And yet, he was once a Jedi. So, we must regard
This
him as
frick-
flawed.
This guy's brain, man.
We shall consider Ahsoka alive until we know otherwise.
You don't see a body. You don't see a body, you don't know, man.
If a star whale approaches Peridea, destroyed with prejudice, Great Mothers, I shall once again require the aid of your dark magic.
The thread of destiny demands it, Granddad.
Yo! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The build in this show has been so good. Jennifer Getzinger. We got a new director on hand for this episode. I thought she did a very nice job. Especially for an episode with no action, right? Like, there really was... I guess Sabine got a little action with those raiders. But, yeah, you know, for the most part, like, it's very much a methodical, conversational, like, giving a large chunk of the audience their first introduction to Thrawn. And, I mean, if in that little bit that we got, you didn't pick up on, like, how genius and tactical this dude is, just the way he was piecing together everything there at the end, the fact that, like, he's got all of these stormtroopers, they're trained, they're doing things, clearly there's been some kind of something going on with him and Ezra. I love that Ezra has a little band of rebel, like, rock shell people. Like, that's so Ezra. But, like, you know, I mean, like, it's one of those where I think the most important thing in this episode was, like, really introducing people to Thrawn. And Lars Mikkelsen carries right over everything that he had from Rebels. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, could you have gotten a John Hamm? Could you have gotten any number of people to play Thrawn? For sure. But the most important thing with Thrawn is his brain and the way he strategizes and plans and executes things and, you know, studies and understands things. And that is more about presence and voice. And that's why having Lars is so important for this, I think. What you got from him was just live action Thrawn. He's here. And it's like, it's one of those, like, I think one of the most telling things as far as, like, understanding him as a character, you get given that, you know, message right at the end that, like, there's another Jedi coming that's supposed to be dead. Thrawn doesn't lose his cool, right? Like, that's one of the things in listening to the book that I'm listening to right now. there's a captain in that story that's working with Thrawn, and a lot of his responses are kind of fear-driven. And Thrawn says, "You've spent too much time with Darth Vader. Like, I'm willing to accept, help or input from somebody else. And if it's smart, if it's something I didn't see, I'm gonna use it." There is a humbleness to Thrawn without ever being humble. You know what I mean? Like, it's one that, like, he knows. But like you can just see in the way that he was interacting with people, the way he is able to read a person, take stuff from a person, right? Like Sabine, somebody he has crossed paths with, somebody he's been, in that band of rebels that he was going toe to toe with, but so much time has passed. Oh yeah, that is a familiar name. And then the way that he immediately is able to be like, all right, you know what? Yeah, Sabine's here. She could be of use. How can I use her? Well, let's cut her loose. Let her go find Ezra. And you follow her. And you find Ezra. And you take them both out. And in the process of you taking both of them out, whether that works or not, we're going to peace out. Because the only thing that matters is getting out of here. Like, all of that stuff was just so locked in. I loved the bit of action we got with Sabine. Like I said, getting to see her do Mandalorian things was great. And then getting to wield that laser sword, that lightsaber. Anytime you're just like, yes. But I'm real fascinated to see what happens with Baylan and Shin, and if they get left behind, how Baylan responds to that. Everything he's doing just fascinates me. And you can tell like he's working for and toward a common goal. But I don't think he trusts everything, and he's very on his toes. And Ray Stevenson just continues to crush. Ivana Sakno continues to just be a visual stealer. Like, she's just so striking on screen. But even just the way that she was asking questions, inquiring about things, like, these are two characters I want to spend more time with. And I hope we get to flesh out some more. Like I said, if they get left behind, be fascinated to see what that would do to Baylan. There's Baylan's got levels, man, layers to him. You know what I mean? But I love everything that they've got set up there. I love that we get a little bit of Ahsoka at the top, and talking about Sabine making a decision for herself. She never would have had enough training to be able to make the right decision. And Hu Yang is just like, was it the wrong decision? You know what I mean? Was it a decision for herself? I think bringing Ezra back is not just a decision for Sabine, while it's certainly driven by that. Ezra's so integral to that group, and the amount of good that could come from Ezra coming back. It's one of those, like, let one die to save thousands. What if bringing one back, even if you're, maybe opening a door for some evil to come along too, what if that does ultimately really, really good things? And that's all stuff that I can't wait to see how that plays out in these last couple episodes. But that reunion, like, when they hugged, like, I felt that, man. You know what I mean? Brilliant casting. I think he looks like an adult Ezra. And I love the fact that they grew the hair back out. I'll be the first one to tell you, seasons 3 and 4, while maybe stronger storytelling and really push, like, as a Star Wars fan, like 3 and 4, I geek out so much. But I hated Ezra with the short hair, man. It just drove me nuts. So to see him come out, and like obviously they shot him with the short hair, for the hologram thing. So see him come out, longer hair and the beard, very Kanan of him. Like, it just tells you how long he's been there and how much he's grown up. And I'll be fascinated to see where he's at as a Jedi at this point, right? Because who's got his lightsaber? Sabine, so he's got no saber. No books, nothing to necessarily go off of. So I'll be interested to see where he's at as a Jedi, right? Someone else who didn't get their training finished. And what all that means. But you can see just the peace in Ezra, which is something that I think he made when he made that decision at the end of season 4. Taking Thrawn away was going to help save everybody. And there's a peace to him when he makes that decision. And that peace is still representative. Even more so once he's able to ask Sabine, like, it was worth it, right? Like, I didn't do this thing and leave my friends and my family for all these years for it to not have been worth it. Please tell me it was worth it. And, like, yeah, it was obviously worth it. You know, big win for Lothal. And then everything from there, the rebellion goes on, and, you know, that's all history. Other things that I love this episode, Hu Yang saying in a galaxy far, far away. That was great. And then to lead into the title being Far, Far Away. Like, Dave Filoni's writing has been phenomenal. Kevin Kiner's score, excellent. This whole freaking episode. I mean, when they got on and all of that, the score was kicking. The sound design was fantastic. And yeah, I can't wait to see what we get next week. I can't believe we only have 2 episodes left. It's one of those where it's like, you can see the end of the runway for this season, and I just want this story to keep being the one that's moving forward. You know what I mean? Like the way you get like the trilogies in the movie theaters, and you're following that singular, like this, even more so than Mando. I can't wait. The last 2 episodes are going to be so good. So let's get the Sea Maniacs up. This is a big episode, you know what I mean? Coming off of a big episode. And I thought this was a really, really nice welcome to Thrawn. I love that it's not action-centric, because that's not Thrawn's thing. And while you're not seeing direct combat strategy happening in the episode, the way he breaks people down, the way he observes and absorbs information and shifts it around in his brain to be able to make the most logical or best decision going forward, is just something I've always adored about the character. And is the reason you get Lars to come back, even if he doesn't look exactly like the animated show. I love what they've done with his hair to kind of elongate his head more. I think he's, look, without it being a direct translation, like, I think he looks fantastic. The red eyes look great, and then it's all about that voice, man, and the presence and the command, and like, that's where it's like, you don't just need a good actor, you need somebody who's got that experience already, and the veteran leadership, so to speak, and that's something that Lars brings. He's been with this character for a long time, and I thought, as soon as he was announced, I was like, that's the perfect choice. There were so many fan castings and thoughts, and you could go this way, you could go. The one casting that nobody that's a Star Wars fan is gonna be mad at, Lars Mikkelsen. I love Thrawn. I love that even when he's given bad news, he's shifting, he's pivoting, he's figuring out what the next move is. You get all of that from Lars in this, and I think Filoni presented it in a way where if you're not familiar with this character, you should have a better idea of the strategy and the tactician and how his brain works and why that makes him terrifying. Maybe even more terrifying than a pair of Siths or Dark Jedi. What's going on with Baylan? Ray Stevenson continues to crush. I'm fascinated with that character. I feel like you do one thing, like he could be the wild card. I think Shin is a wild card in general, but like she always gonna be dark side. I don't see any flipping or coming around to the good side or understanding the good. I don't see any of that. If they all are stranded there, I'd be fascinated to see though what happens with Baylan. The Ezra stuff. Long hair, Ezra, like just so that hug, I felt that hug. You know what I mean? Because I was like there too. Ezra is a character that I just adore. I'm so excited that people like my parents are getting to finally be introduced to him, because we're in live action and you're not in the animated world. I wish I could get my parents to watch the animated series. I've gotten some of my friends to. But to get him in live action and just the presence and like, it's the thing that I love the most about this cast when you're talking about people who have been cast as characters that we know. You feel like they've done the homework. You feel like they've talked to Filoni for hours about these characters. And you feel like the essence of what you know from Rebels and Clone Wars is all representative there. Yeah, I mean, this episode did great things. It was a subtle episode, not a lot of action. The stuff with Sabine was great. I love the Ahsoka and Hu Yang stuff at the beginning. I can't wait for them to join the party next week. Is that going to slow down Thrawn? I don't know. Is he going to try to just get out of Dodge? Who knows? But I'm pumped for all of it, and it definitely seems that there's going to be some kind of Purgle battle going on, and I enjoyed the last one that featured Thrawn and Purgle, so I'm here for all that stuff. As far as scores go, I don't think this one hit as big as the last two, so I'm going to come back down a half a point, and we're going to go 4 out of 5 C-Maniacs this week. Again, this show is just here all the time, and it's one of those where, you know, rewatching and editing like Mandalorian stuff, like, you know, and people sometimes be like, oh, and Filoni's involved in all this stuff, but he's not writing it. Favreau writes a lot of it. I love Mando. I really enjoyed this last season, but it's one of those things where it's like when Dave Filoni is writing, I don't think anybody other than George Lucas could sniff that. You know what I mean? George Lucas wouldn't sniff it. He'd go right past it. But in some ways, like, Filoni just has this understanding of, like, where fans come from and where the material comes from and what the histories are. And, like, he understands all sides of it that, like, when he's in charge of presenting things to us, I don't know. I'm just enamored by it. So 4.5 out of 5 for part 6, Far Away of Ahsoka. I really dug that episode. Like, just because, like, Thrawn and Ezra are, like, 2 characters I've been waiting so long for, and to get them executed in pitch perfect ways, like, and even Morgan, you know, I dug that we got, like, night sister, like, legit, like, mothers. That was so cool. And all the stuff with Morgan, like, I for a hot sec too, I was like, is Morgan doing all these things just to get back to this planet? I wonder if there's anything up her sleeve or I mean, it doesn't seem like there is, but going back to a place, having the Red Mothers there, like, that's some cool freaking stuff. And then the big one for me, dude in the mask, I'm telling you, I think that's Sam Witwer. Like, just the presence, the inflections. Like, Witwer's very good at altering his voice. He does great voice work. But I feel like that might be Sam Witwer. Like, if indeed he is in this series somewhere, it could be that character. And I feel like that character is going to get something, because why would you, like, you could have a stormtrooper be the leader of the stormtroopers, be Thrawn's number 2, and not have a face on his helmet. Fascinated by that. Kevin Kiner crushed it. Everything about this show is just right here. So I'm gonna shut up now. 4.5 out of 5. I'm very tired. I need to go to sleep. We're gonna edit this tomorrow. We're gonna get it up. I got all sorts of things to try to edit and get it up tomorrow. We got some Mandalorian stuff coming. I started One Piece finally, so that's on the way. We're about 3/4 of the way through that edit. We're gonna prioritize this one. We'll do our non-spoiler, but again, I'm gonna do that in the morning. So like I said, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna flip it over to you. Where are you right now? Coming off of the religious experience of last week for some, if not all of us, where do you land here? You know, you knew you were gonna have to come down a little bit. I think just from a general, like, pop and tone and how big last week felt. But I think it's a phenomenal intro for Thrawn. I thought Mickelson crushed it. So do you feel that? Was anything about this episode not working for you? Was it too big of a step down from the last episode? Anything you got, really, man? Good, bad, indifferent on Ahsoka. Season 1, Episode 6, Part 6, Far Away. Put it down below in the comment section. Look forward to talking to you guys down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer reactions. You want to be here for the last 2 episodes of Ahsoka. Next week, I don't have volleyball on Tuesday. I got it on Thursday, so we'll be back at home in the regular digs, just doing normal things. So you want to be here for that. I've got some movie stuff. I got to start trying to get to the movies. There's been a few that have come out that I haven't seen. You want to see if we get to any of that stuff. You want to see any of the other coverage. You just dig the vibe. You want to show a little love and support. Well, hey, come join C-Maniac Nation. It's where you can do all those things. You can do it simply by jumping over there, hitting that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down. I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Oh, you guys are still here. You snuck up on me. You must be looking for more of this guy. Well, I got 2 video options for you, man. Right up here and right over here. And if you want all those C-Man goodies, well, hey, come join the squad right on over there, and I'll catch you on the next one.